guys, today I want to talk to you about the iceberg theory of anger. Now, you may have never thought of an iceberg as a metaphor for emotional expression, but it's actually a perfect depiction of anger as a superficial emotion. Let me explain that a little bit. So the part of the iceberg that we see is very superficial, that part above the surface of the water, because it's only about 10% of the actual surface of the full iceberg. The other 90% is below the surface of the water. In the same way, anger is a superficial emotion. It's a secondary emotion, meaning it occurs in response to another feeling, such as fear, shame, guilt, sadness, embarrassment, anxiety, worry. That's just to name a few. And those feelings are driven by the thoughts that trigger them. Thoughts always come before feelings. Always. Let me say that again. Thoughts always come before feelings. Now, thoughts may occur in a nanosecond in the supercomputer that is our brain, but they still occur. You may not recognize it, but there's a thought that occurs before you feel or respond in any type of way. Those thoughts bring about feelings. And when the feelings aren't safe to express, anger often shows up as a cover. Let's look at an example to make this clearer. So take Billy, a 10-year-old boy. He's playing at the playground, playing ball with his friends, and then he suddenly trips and face plants in the grass. 10-year-old boys are clumsy, right? It's not a big deal. So we can imagine, though, that Billy, because he's in front of his friends, he likely feels embarrassed, right? He may or may not also be physically hurt and feel like crying. Then, let's say his friends are being kind of jerky, and they're laughing and pointing at him, as 10-year-olds are likely to do in this type of situation. This hurts Billy's feelings, but he doesn't want his friends to see that vulnerable side of him. So he lashes out by yelling at them and calling them jerks. Maybe even blaming one of them for his fall, even though that clearly wasn't the case. The truth is, Billy probably would have laughed at a friend who tripped as well, right? His response wouldn't have been any different than those of his peers. It's really not worth getting angry over, right? But Billy can't handle the embarrassment. It's really not a big deal. As I said, 10-year-olds are clumsy. It's not a huge thing, but he can't handle the embarrassment. So he engages in angry behaviors such as name calling, externalization of blame. Now, at 10, he probably doesn't realize it, but what he's doing is called projecting. So that is, he's using his anger at others to divert attention away from his own feelings of embarrassment and pain. So he's putting anger, projecting anger onto them. He's not truly angry, though. He's actually just mortified. So the next time you're angry, I want you to stop and ask yourself what's really going on. What are the triggers? What are the things that set your feelings into motion? Take a look at the feelings that lie beneath that anger. Maybe make notes and look for patterns over time. And then also what drove those feelings. When you learn to dissect anger to get at what's below the surface, you can start to manage your emotions in much healthier and more productive ways.